Hey everyone, it's Richard Metal Fan here, bringing you guys an old school album review. And today we're going to be looking into this album's, 5-year anniversary. It's technically would be old-ish school, but it's still like newish, sort of. I don't fucking know. I don't know what I'm saying. But it's from one of my favorite bands and good friends with these guys. As you can see below the title, today we're going to be looking into Citadel by Obliviscaris, the band's second album, released on November 7th, 2004 through Season of Mist Records. I have my CD copy signed by the whole band from when I very first saw them a couple years ago. I had the whole band sign it, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, Obliviscaris, definitely doesn't, if you're not familiar with them, they're a progressive melodic death, I don't know, they're like a metal band hailing all the way from Melbourne, Australia. They've been around since 2003, and this was the follow-up to their debut album, which came out in 2012, called Portal of I. And Obliviscaris, for me was like they kind of like combine like different elements of music. Like they have like the progressive metal, and they have a little bit of like melodic death metal, even a little bit of like black metal-ish, mainly in like some of the harsh vocals. I don't know, just a very classical stuff, since they have like a violin in their music, which is really great. Makes them kind of like stand out. And of course their debut album Portal of I was a pretty good album. Of course they followed up with their second album Citadel, which we're going to be reviewing. It's sort of like, you could tell like with this album, it's sort of like a progression from Portal of I. In terms of like the musicianship, I feel like it sort of like has a little bit of that Leslie black metal feel as it was on Portal of I on some of the songs, but it's still pretty sick. Just one thing to know about the vocals is just the vocal work in general on this album is great, from Tim, Charles, and Zaynor. Like Tim's clean singing is just really great. Like he puts so much emotion into his clean singing. Like I don't even know how he does it. One of the best singers I've heard. And of course with Zaynor's growls and just like his shrieks and stuff, he's just a really sick, harsh vocalist. I just love his vocals as well. Guitar wise, Benji Beret and Matt Clavin's guitar playing is just solid. Just like the riffs that Matt does is really great. And just the lead shredding from Benji is just superb. Like, I mean, great. The bass is pretty audible. But one thing I love about Obliviscaris is like sound. You could definitely hear the bass turn up in the mix from former bassist Brendan Brown, aka Cygnus. I was lucky to have him sign. This is the only thing that I have of Obliviscaris that Brendan had signed. And drumming wise, I don't know what I can say about Dan Presslin. One of the best metal drummers still going today. Like the dude can do just sick blast beats and just, I don't know, he's just all over the place on the drum department. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive into this album track by track. Now starting it off is the song it's a 3-part song, but it's really long. It's like 23 minutes, but each is split up into 3 different parts, being Painters of the Tempest. And first off, we'll start with part one, which is called Wormholes, which serves as an amazing overture with the slow and haunting sort of like piano that gets shredded and all sorts of like symphonic sing of elements. This sets sort of like a dark, menacing, and mysterious mood. And for 3 minutes, and this thing sort of like haunts you with its end, sort of like the chaos sort of like unleashed. And the sound is so full yet so clear, and you can hear every single detail that is just pretty much going on. It's just brutal, fast, heavy, and technical to the bone. And I find that all the musicians in this band have a machinery precision, even in the most complicated parts they could possibly find. And I don't think I've ever heard an album that just sounds this exact good in terms of recording. And this is, I believe, actually, this album was pretty much my introduction to the band from like late 2015, early 2016 when I first heard it. And this was pretty much what made me become a fan and pretty much what got me into these guys. And I don't think I've ever heard an album just that good. Like these people just must live their entire lives in the studio. Even like the growls are controlled, and like Zaynor has a very powerful, completely balanced tone, mainly in the screams, which are very linear and consistent. And you can get more of a precise and flawless sound. And if you just, wow. And then of course we go into part two of Painters of the Triptych. Painters of the I can't even speak today. I'm sorry, forgive me. I've been at work all day. Being Painters of the Tempest Part 2, which is Triptych Trick Lux, which is actually split into 3 different movements. Being Creator, Sinosaur, and Curator, which enters with a whirlwind riff before Zen's beastly growls forge through menacing, and it's so in sync with like the guitars and the drums. And around a minute 40, there is like a violin section that is unworldly, completely switching the mood and transcends the track from beastly just death metal to a ballad like classic section. And then the 2 worlds merge to create something that is in the epitome of beauty itself. And through this like 16-minute track, it's like a battle between good and evil, between sort of like the death metal and classical music, and it ends with a distant feedback and almost instantly in a soft acoustic sound which calms you down after the madness, with the sorrowful yet gorgeous violin, which begins sort of like the final part of the track being reveries from the stained glass womb. Like, although like each track just has a different name for it in case a different part, it's pretty much all tied in together just delicately, each track leading into the next with the most fluid, beautiful way possible. And Tim's violin sort of like echoes a story of sadness, of fear, and deep emotions that cannot be conveyed within any other means. And the acoustics come in with a progressive and emotional element, something you wouldn't usually find on an album that is classified as metal, as dual instrumentation will make you empty a tissue box. It is possibly just, wow, one of the most emotional songs that Obliviscaris has written, and I just love it. Anyway, moving on to Pyrrhic, which is not quite as good as like the other 2 long songs on this album, but when not held to like Obliviscaris standards of godly. And the drums on this song are incredible, with Dan making it seemingly meaningless transitions between sort of like sections and providing the perfect rhythm for each passage, complemented by his fills, which never fail to impress. And the riffing and the harsh vocals are both exceptional and give the song a violent atmosphere full of despair. And the lead guitar and violin melodies are perfect and tangent to everything else going on, adding to the sense of despair. And there's like a quiet section in the middle of mostly soft drums, which seems kind of odd at first, but transitions excellently into an emotional ending to the song, with Tim's beautiful and strangled violin melodies atop sort of like Zen's painted growls. And then we get to the last song, which is a 2-part song being of Devour Me Colossus. And part 1 is, of course, Black Holes, which starts off with a very nasty riff accompanied by some evil sounding growls, and then before you know it hits you, you're just clobbered by the absolute best drum groove ever. Absolutely brilliant, and is further propelled by Tim's classic clean vocals and some just crazy riffage, and the bass dances around softly in the background, drawing you in even more. And the song proceeds to go all out, with every band member going in with and just all crazy with their instruments, totally overwhelming you with emotion and transcending sort of like into like a quiet section with some lovely acoustic guitar chords topped with amazing violin solo. And the solo gives into a greater clean vocal section with some nice bass work hitting up with a good riff, and the song just explodes in just sheer brilliance, and then just quiets down once again to a groovy bass riff, and the instruments begin to like layer with some gnarly riffing and drumming, and then we are hit with another great guitar solo, which gives way for the finale. And then sort of like Beauty and the Beast kind of like esque vocals close out the final intense track of the album, oozing with sadness, hope, and joy simultaneously. And then it sort of like closes just very calmly with part 2 of Devour Me Colossus being Contortions, which is just like almost like 2.5 minute long, which is just kind of like similar to Reveries from the Stained Glass Room. It's just violin only, just showcasing what Tim can do on the violin, and damn, he's a really great player. And I'm just a metalhead, and hearing violin with metal is just really great. So overall, Citadel by Obliviscaris is a really great album. And this, like I said, this was the album that pretty much got me into the band, and I pretty much became a fan of this band since. That was like late 2015, early 2016. So yeah, if I were to give this album a score, I'm going to probably give this a solid 10 out of 10. Yeah, it's pretty much one of the best albums I've heard in the 2010s. So yeah, I love it. So yeah, that's my review of Citadel by Obliviscaris, guys. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the album, and I'll see you all in the next video. And as always, keep it metal.